All right, everyone, let's get ready for another deep dive.
I am excited for this one.
Me too.
Yeah.
You know how much I love it when we find something totally random online and then just see where it takes us?
Yeah, kind of like those rabbit holes on the internet.
Exactly. So today's rabbit hole begins with a question I saw on, well, I don't even remember where I saw it, but the question was, what's your zodiac sign's guilty pleasure snack?
Okay.
And at first I was like,
Yeah.
oh, that's funny, just a silly little meme.
Right.
But then the more I thought about it, the more I realized there's actually a lot to unpack here.
Yeah, definitely. Like on the surface, it seems lighthearted, but there are so many potential layers to
So
this.
many layers. So I thought it'd be fun to kind of dive in and explore those layers with you.
Let's do it.
Okay, so first of all, let's just start with this whole idea of guilty pleasures when it comes to food.
Right.
Like, where does that even come from?
Well, it's interesting because we don't really talk about guilty pleasures in a lot of other areas of life. Like, we might say we have a guilty pleasure song or a guilty pleasure movie. But food seems to have this like extra layer of morality attached to it.
Yeah, it's like we've assigned certain foods this role of being bad.
Exactly. And what's considered good versus bad has changed so much over time.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah, like for example, in the Victorian era, rich, spiced foods were seen as indulgent and unhealthy,
Oh, wow.
almost immoral for the upper classes.
Really?
But now those same flavors are often celebrated as like gourmet experiences.
Huh. That's so interesting. So
Mm.
basically what we consider a guilty pleasure is really just a product of the time and culture we live in.
Exactly. And I think marketing plays a huge role too. Like think about how often we're bombarded with messages about clean eating and superfoods.
Oh, yeah, all the time.
And creates this atmosphere where enjoying a cookie can almost feel like a rebellious act.
Right. It's like we've internalized all these food rules without even realizing it.
Exactly.
So then you bring zodiac signs into the mix, and it gets even more interesting,
Definitely. Because by linking a guilty pleasure snack to a specific sign, we're tapping into all these pre-existing stereotypes.
right? Like a fiery Aries might be associated with spicy snacks,
Exactly. Or a grounded Taurus might be associated with comfort food.
right? It's like we're creating these little narratives about each sign, and food becomes this way to express those perceived personality traits.
Exactly. And then there's the whole cultural dimension too.
Yeah.
Like what might be a common everyday snack in one culture could be seen as exotic or unusual or even a guilty pleasure in another culture.
Oh, absolutely. I've experienced that firsthand when traveling. Like I've been
Yeah,
totally surprised by what people consider a normal snack in certain places.
right. It challenges our whole idea of what's normal or acceptable. Like, for example, in some cultures, insects are a staple food,
Right.
while in other cultures, that would be considered like completely out there.
Totally. So I guess the question is, if guilty pleasures are so culturally influenced, do they even really exist
That's the big question. Maybe a guilty pleasure is just any food that we enjoy without judgment.
without worrying about what other people think?
Exactly. Like it's about giving ourselves permission to enjoy something without feeling guilty.
I love that. This whole conversation has really made me think about how complex something as simple as a snack can be.
Me too. And that's what I love about these deep dives. It's amazing what we can learn when we dig beneath the surface of things.
Absolutely. So to all our listeners out there, we'd love to hear from you. What is your zodiac sign's guilty pleasure snack?
And tell us why.
Let's keep this conversation going.
Sounds good.
Awesome.